Dear fellow recovering people pleasers, thank you so much for joining me again. Welcome back. Thank you for your love, likes, and comments. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell to be notified whenever I post. To keep things short and sweet this week, I made sure I wrote everything down. So the message that I have for you has been on my heart for some time. And I've actually been recently wading through this for the past month. The message is trust. Trust yourself. Generally speaking, if you've ever been in a toxic relationship, leaving a toxic dynamic, whether it's romantic, family, career, or otherwise, can sometimes leave a bad taste in your mouth about people. We have the tendency to associate specific characteristics of the people that hurt us with negativity. And we do this as some sort of safety measure to kind of keep ourselves from getting hurt again. Because let's keep it a buck. How many times have you heard or even said yourself, because I know I have, something to the effects of, oh, I don't like Capricorns because they be lying. Or that person, they don't talk, they don't talk, so they must be stuck up. A lot of times we use like these stereotypes, these judgments, these remnants of our past experiences to label people that we don't even know according to our negative experiences. And trust me, there's no shade or no tea to Capricorns or quiet people. These are just examples. A lot of times when we have an experience that makes us lose trust, it makes it harder for us to trust others who share characteristics with those who have hurt us, to kind of put a nice, tidy bow on that. But what happens when we lose trust with ourselves? Now, this sounds silly. At least it sounded silly to me at first, because in my mind, I'm like, well, how can I lose trust with myself? It's me. I'm me. You know? I'm the one in control. I'm the one that's doing the thing. Why would I not trust myself? And it's actually quite easy to lose trust with ourselves. It's actually quite easy to kind of like skip over that, or to not believe that what we're experiencing is a lack of trust in ourselves. I certainly don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but it is real. It is a real thing. I know it because I experienced it before. I'm still in the process of building trust with myself after a life of questionable experiences, questionable decisions, right? We all are. But this is especially going to resonate for my people who have endured a toxic / abusive relationship. And again, does not always have to be romantic. It can be professional. It can be with family. It can be friends. But it can be hard to spot. It's like a blind spot. And for those of you who are into energy readings, tarot readings, and that nature, you can get access to my most recent blind spot reading. The link is available in the description box. But I wanted to bring some examples to the forefront, because if you're like me, I need examples, because sometimes we can write off an experience because we're so far removed from the language of that experience that we may not even know that's what we're experiencing because it's not being drawn out. It's not being spelled out for us in a way that we understand. So I have gathered some examples of what it may look like to not trust yourself. And if these resonate with you, you can leave a comment down below. Let us know what's going on. How can we help? How can we encourage you? But if you would simply like to keep it to yourself or use this as a journaling prompt, you are more than welcome, and it is highly encouraged. So some examples of not trusting yourself can look like negative self-talk. Okay? That's like putting ourselves down. That's calling ourselves stupid, ugly, worthless, talking about how we're always failing, always fucking up. There's always some shit. Like whenever we use words like I'm always, or I'm never, or some people just say I straight up hate myself. But some people don't necessarily say I straight up hate myself. Some people may be fooled into thinking they love themselves, but there's always this voice that's in their head that's cutting them down after they do anything. That sucked. Wow. Way to go, genius. It can be very sarcastic, but how do you feel when you hear those negative things in your mind, if you're letting them get to you? Now, if you're not letting them get to you, also, kudos to you. You're on the right track. But it does start with that negative self-talk, because when we're cutting ourselves down, that's a clear sign that we don't believe in our abilities or our goodness. So yeah, next example. Well, I kind of already touched on it, but doubting yourself. When you doubt yourself, you're telling yourself that you can't do things. Like when the word can't comes out of your mouth, what are you using it to describe? Is it I can't, you can't, we can't, they can't? It can also be some sort of control as well. Because if you are projecting onto others what they can't do, you may also be projecting how you feel about yourself, but also maybe trying to assert a level of control in order to keep you in a comfortable space where you and your self-trust and self-belief are not the problem. And I'm just going to leave that at that and not explain any further. Okay? Because this doesn't apply to everyone, but who it applies to probably won't be happy to hear that. We also have complaining about situations, but putting forth no effort to fix things. That is another projection, right? Because sometimes we find ourselves in positions where we do feel powerless. And so the only thing that we feel we can do is complain. Right? It's just saying that's not right. That's not fair. Why is it always like this? And we talk shit about the people, the system, or whatever, and put forth no effort to change or to take a different route. Basically, to get to a solution. So when we complain, it's basically like pawning off the responsibility to someone else to fix that situation. And sometimes we may be complaining about industrial complex systems, economic systems, socioeconomic systems. We may be complaining about the government, and it's like, well, if I'm a truck driver or a teacher, what am I going to do to change the government, But there are always routes around complaints. There are always things that we can do to better our situations and the situations for those that depend on us. We just have to be willing to believe in ourselves, to trust that what we do, how we do it, what we say is worth saying, is worth doing, is worth the time and effort. We also have the ego box. I love it because a lot of times we will tell ourselves that we can't do something or we won't do something based on, oh, well, that's not me. We say, that's not me. That's not the type of person I am. I'm this. So if I'm this, that means I can't do that. If I'm this, that means I can't say that. If I'm this, that means I can't feel like this. This is like the basis of all sorts of isms and phobias. And I'm not going to go any further. You can plug in the details as you wish. But that's the ego box. And so it can be a what's the word I'm looking for? A symptom of doubting yourself, because in the realms of maybe wanting to try a new career, maybe wanting to try a new hobby, or explore a new idea, or go on a trip to a different place, and you may tell yourself that, oh, well, because I'm this, I can't do that. Next symptom I have is questioning your reality. So when you question your reality, this is a sliding scale. And for those who have endured copious amounts of abuse at the hands of more narcissistic people, like gaslighting and things like that, people who are actively making you question your reality. First of all, I'm not a mental health professional, but I would advise to seek mental professional help. To seek help from a mental professional. That's what I'm trying to say. If you are struggling in that area, because that is something that can be truly detrimental to your mental health and to your life. So like I said, question your reality is on a sliding scale, and I am not here to be counsel to abuse victims. I can only offer my insight and offer things that have helped me. But like I said, I am not a mental health professional, so I cannot legally or ethically advise you to do anything with your life. Okay? But questioning your reality is a symptom of not trusting yourself. And that is kind of the goal of the abuser, is to make you trust them over you. And so when you find yourself overthinking, when you find yourself taking someone else's perception over your own, taking their word over yours, siding with their side of the story over your own side of the story, justifying a toxic situation, or changing your frame of reality in order to make something that's really bad look not so bad. And I have in parentheses saying, oh, I'm not eating a shit sandwich, it's just pre-digested. Okay, take that with so many grains of salt, okay? Because, like I said, this is a sliding scale. But when we are actively engaged in any of these behaviors, any of these dialogues with ourselves, we know that we are not fully trusting our experience. We're not fully trusting our reality, ourselves. I also have extreme avoidance. Flee is a totally normal response, and sometimes it is necessary to flee. It is necessary to avoid certain things, okay? We always want to choose our battles. So I say, like I said, the last tip, with the last symptom, please take everything with a grain of salt. But extreme avoidance, avoiding all conflict, avoiding any challenge, avoiding any problems or problem solving, avoiding responsibilities, okay, avoiding people, places, things. A lot of times when we find ourselves in a state of extreme avoidance, it is because we do not trust ourselves in these situations. I hear this a lot. If I address this situation, I'm probably going to end up in jail. I've said it before, okay? And it's like that rhetoric is telling that you do not trust yourself completely to handle the situation appropriately, or to a degree where you will not end up in serious danger or serious consequences. I'll say that. So yeah, we have extreme avoidance, especially when we find ourselves avoiding challenges. Like, it's okay if you want to be comfortable. Not everyone is going to change and evolve. Some people are put on this earth, I'm gonna quote, some people are put on this earth to to show you what it's like if you don't evolve. Okay, so not everyone's going to change, not everyone's going to evolve, not everyone is leaving their comfort zone. It's just not, it's not going to happen. So I'm not saying that that is wrong, but when you find yourself in extreme avoidance of any challenge, any problem, any responsibility, you are telling yourself that you do not trust yourself in these situations. Challenges breed change. Challenges breed growth and expansion and learning. And responsibilities give us something to look forward to work for, to take responsibility of, hint why it's called a responsibility, gives us a sense of pride and all these other great things that come with having more responsibility. So if you find yourself in extreme avoidance to any of these things, it may be time to do a little bit of self-reflecting to see where you are at how well you trust yourself. Because typically, when we do trust ourselves, trust is like, it's not just a safety net. You know, it's not just something that's there just in case. It's not insurance, right? Trust is a muscle. And just like any muscle, you have to exercise it if you want it to grow, to sustain even. Because if you don't work out your muscles, you lose muscle mass, right? So in order to keep it there, you have to exercise it. And if you can picture any relationship you've ever had or have currently, whether it's with the gym or with people in general, and you love this person, you trust this person, or you love the gym, you love your body, you love your muscles, how good does it feel when you do work it out? When you do find that point where you're like, man, I love this person, man, I can trust them, man, I can really rely on them, man, yeah, I want to do it more because it makes me feel so good, right? That's the same thing with yourself, okay? So it's actually a positive thing to have more responsibility, to have more challenges in your life. It is a positive thing. It's a good stress. Unless you get overwhelmed by taking on too many responsibilities, then you might need to slow down. Okay. There's balance to everything, okay? But oh man, I am way over time. I thought this was gonna be quick. Anyway, let's go. Bear with me, y'all. All right, so the next symptom we have is inconsistency. Inconsistency in routine, inconsistency in output as far as like the work you put out, maybe the quality that you put out, or scheduling or procrastination, to be more specific. If you find yourself procrastinating a lot, which is not always a I don't trust myself issue, sometimes procrastination is just a way of life for certain people with certain conditions. Okay. Some people thrive in a stressful environment because it makes their work more potent or more of quality. And that's kind of how they've trained themselves. I'm not the expert in untraining yourself in that area. I just know that it exists. Okay. Some people do not trust that their quality of work will be as good if they are just consistently working at something versus waiting until the last minute. Okay, I am neither here on that subject because I am not a mental health professional. I cannot tell you which one is best. I cannot tell you if it is a sickness or if it is just a way of life. Okay? And when I say sickness, I do not mean to put anyone down because this is something that I do struggle with in some areas of my life. So, bite me. Okay? So we also have overthinking. I am a guilty Sally. So guilty of overthinking. I like thinking, like I have really good ideas, but sometimes I think about ways I could have done something better or things I should have said in the moment that I didn't think of. And, like the scenarios playing in your head, and you kind of just have to quell those type of things, right? You meditate and you detach and you let things go. You just have to learn to let stuff go so that you can save your mental energy for things that really need it, right? But if you find yourself overthinking or being very indecisive, you probably don't trust your own judgment, probably don't trust your own decisions. We also have being overly critical. If you find something wrong with every little thing, okay, we might have an issue with acceptance. And acceptance and trust do kind of go hand in hand, because in order to trust, you have to accept. And acceptance can also mean that accept that you may get hurt, accept that things might be imperfect, accept that things may not go your way, but being able to trust that you're still going to be okay, regardless. And then we also have little to no commitment. So if you find yourself not being able to commit to like events, people, places, and things, especially people, this is a trust issue. This is certainly a trust issue. I find that a lot of people who have been hurt in their past relationships are the ones who are in the situationships, okay? Trust me, I've been in plenty of situationships to know that people who are hurt only want to be in situationships because if they call it anything else, they're risking getting hurt and they don't trust nobody. Not like that. Not like that. Even though you are putting your life, your safety, and your health in the hands of someone else, you do not want to put a title on things because you do not trust. You don't trust yourself or the other person in the situation, or both. I'll say or both. So these are only a few that I was able to dredge up from my own life. I'm sure there are others. If you know any other symptoms or know any other experiences of your own or others, drop those down in the comments as well, because let's talk about it. The reason why we bring these things up is because we want to be able to identify the behavior and identify what it is that we are doing that is self-sabotaging, that can be helped. Like, it's not about picking apart what's wrong with us. We tend to think that something's wrong if we want to change, and no, nothing has to be wrong for you to want to change, but we don't want to frame it as, oh, something's wrong with you. We want to frame it as, I want a new experience. And that's all I'm here to do, is to shine light on these things so that we can foster new experiences for ourselves that are more fulfilling, more positive. Okay? So now that we've gone over this list, I would invite you to just think for a second. Just take a moment. If you need to pause the video or cast, wherever this is at, pause it, give yourself a second, maybe even pull out a journal, if you would like. These are great symptoms, concepts, beliefs, experiences that dredge up things for us to look at in our own lives. Okay, so feel free to use this as a journal prompt if you want to look a little deeper at yourself. But I invite you to think about, what would trusting yourself more help with in your life? Now, I'm going to use this list to go over what trusting myself would make a difference in. So when I look at this list and I say, if I trust myself, then I know that I give my best. And I also deserve grace for when I mess up, as all humans do. Okay. Trusting myself also means that I trust my intuition. I trust my side of the story. I trust my experiences. Trusting myself means that I trust my actions are going to set me up for success or for a powerful lesson. Either way, it is for me. Trusting myself means taking accountability while still detaching from the outcomes of my decisions. And so on, and so on, and so on. So Like I said earlier, trust is a muscle. And just like we build trust with other people within our relationships, it's necessary to do that with ourselves. We have to build it. We have to exercise that muscle with ourselves. It also shows you as an individual that you respect yourself to earn your own trust. Usually it's the other way around. We expect people to earn our trust, or other people expect us to earn their trust. To show them over time that we are dependable, that we are not going to be creeps and unalivers, right? They trust us to have their best interests at heart. If we want to get closer to people, if we want to build meaningful, lasting connections with people, trust is a part of that. Being with a partner or a person who you do not trust is setting you up for failure in the long run. So just know that it is a process. And also know that you are worth that process. You are worth it. I don't care if no one has ever told you this in your life. You are worth it. Okay? And with that process and that progress, your life will certainly change. So if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much, because I was not expecting it to be this long. Thank you for your ear. Okay? Thank you for your ear. But if you made it this far into the video, I know for certain that you are on the brink of that change. On the brink of trusting yourself more and more. You're building that relationship. You are at a point in your life where things are looking up, where you are seeing the results of everything that you have taken in. Something in this video is resonating for you. I'm talking to the people who resonated with this video, who know in their heart of hearts that they are ready for a new experience. And sometimes all it takes is shining a light on some things that have been left in the dark for a while, so that we can move forward and integrate what it is that we need to integrate in order to press on. So that is going to be the end of my message for this week. Thank you so much again for joining me. Like I said before, if you want access to any of my artwork, if you want access to any of my readings, make sure you follow the links in the description box. I also make music and stuff like that too. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified whenever I post. I just want to let you know that I love you guys so much. Thank you for bearing with me in this crazy time. Happy Sag season to all my Sages out there if you made it this far. And remember that God is love and love is you. You can do anything you put your mind to. I will catch you in the next video. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, wonderful holiday season. I love you. Bye-bye.